People who have accidentally hit a pedestrian. What happened? 10-year-old ran out in front of a parked car right in front of me. Fortunately, I was already going slow, and she just went up on the hood, looked me in the eye and rolled off when I came to a stop. She was okay. Her dad witnessed the whole thing and said it wasn't my fault. Afterwards, all I could think was that I was glad I was driving my tiny Plymouth Cricket and not my old F250, which I had sold a few weeks prior. Small child under 6 years old bolted across a completely full street, was hidden between stopped cars waiting for the light on the left, and came out flying and managed to go right into the side of my car at around the back passenger door. Thankfully she was okay. I managed to slam the brakes the second I caught low-flying bright colors in my peripherals, so all that actually happened was she lost a shoe and both of us were panicking for a while. Other lucky break was between the sheer number of people around and it happening within 2 blocks of town's police HQ meant there was a cop there within about 30 seconds and enough people to confirm that yeah, the kid really did technically hit me. I'm pretty sure the family got a little bit of a lecture about paying attention, since there were like 6 adults and older kids who were supposed to be watching her. Edits because I'm a terrible typist. Ex of mine hit and killed a drunk man who was in the middle of a road with no lights. He was immediately cleared by the police of all wrongdoing, since the dude smelled strongly of alcohol and was clearly standing in the middle of the street. His insurance, however, paid the family $60K and dropped him, since his father failed to report him as a daily driver of the car. I took her to the hospital. The doctors did the best that they could, and she is going to be okay. I fender tapped a homeless fella on his bike before, was going down a super dark road, made a turn and didn't see anybody at all. Suddenly mid-turn someone on a bike flies past my car and I hit him. Dude wasn't really hurt. Bruised elbow and some road rash. I called the police just to be sure he was okay. They let me leave because apparently the homeless guy was extremely intoxicated and was known for doing this stuff in hopes of a lawsuit. Elmo. It was my sister. I dropped her off for work and I quickly reversed out of where I parked. Didn't realize she was behind my car when I reversed. She ended up on the trunk and was perfectly fine. This happened almost 30 years ago. Reverse cameras didn't exist. Pedestrian purposely timed it despite them having a don't walk sign. Popo were 2 cars behind me and instantly cleared me. I have a friend that lived in Bakersfield, Ca. She had called me freaking out because she had hit a guy while driving to work and her license was suspended. She just lived that kind of life at the time. She didn't want to commit a hit and run and make her situation worse, so she stayed on the scene. I DK how the guy on the bike was doing, but she called me after the cops left. She got that car impounded, but she still felt good because that guy she hit, turns out he had a warrant. I try not to go to Bakersfield. They stepped out at a zebra crossing and I didn't notice them. I slammed on the brakes but still hit her. Luckily I was almost completely stopped and while the hit did knock her over she wasn't hurt. I jumped out, helped her up and apologized profusely. She said she was okay and she went on her way. It was very lucky that it wasn't more serious and I'm now a way more careful driver. I haven't done that, but I once hit a Presbyterian. Of course, it wasn't by accident. It was wholly intentional. He was asking for it, what with his yammering on about Reformed theology and such. Hit a guy running after his dogs while driving to work in my neighborhood. Approx 10 mph. Called 911. Ambulance and cop came. He went to hospital with a lacerated skull and I got a distracted driving ticket. He filed a lawsuit against my insurance and settled for $25K from insurance. My insurance premiums did not change. Nice try, FBI. I was driving down Harrison Ave right before McHenry and 2 kids ran across the street. No crosswalk or light. 1 kid stopped and 1 did not. He ran into the side of my car and fell. I ran over his leg with my rear tire. He lived, but had nasty road rash from the tire on his leg. The worst part was they were running to their parents on the other side of the street and they watched it happen. Thankfully I didn't kill him. New mother postpartum depression, a blizzard and she stepped in front of my truck. Successful suicide. Over 30 years ago. Still live with nightmares. I was driving and a guy who wasn't paying attention walked out into the street without even looking up from his phone. I hit him pretty hard and he needed to go to the hospital. I had a dashcam though to prove it wasn't my fault, so he ended up having to pay for my vehicle repairs. I was the pedestrian once. 10 years old. Getting off a school bus, going across a crosswalk, in front of a school, during school hours. She was going 35 in a Honda Civic. I cost $2,800 in damage to the car number used in court, not my number. She broke my femur. She paid for my medical bills and college for 6 years. Got a ticket for hitting a pedestrian in a crosswalk. As far as I know you wouldn't even be able to find it on her record. They step out into the road without looking and I cycled into them. I can share my perspective as the hit pedestrian. I got paid. Using this thread to tell my favorite story that my fiancée has ever told me. When she was in college in the 2010s, she used to cruise around her college town at night for fun. One night she and a friend were driving around at like 2 a.m., and a drunk college student wandered into the road. She hit him going at least 30 mph, and he slid across her hood and onto the other side of the road. She got out, freaking out thinking she had killed him, and when she saw him moving she asked if he was okay. He popped up and said, "My friends are never going to believe this," then went on his way with apparently zero cares in the world. Maybe it was adrenaline or sheer drunkenness, but as far as she knows he walked away without a scratch. Lucky for her, but I often wonder how the guy fared once his nervous system calmed down. We're married, expecting our third child.